My friend probably really happy right now, but if you could see my setup right now, you would be horrified. This fucking sucks for me, okay? This took me so long to set up, okay? It took me like almost a full hour. Street level superheroes. Street level superheroes are the kinds of superheroes that they're not really up there with the likes of Superman or Green Lantern. They're the kinds of heroes that beat up homeless people in alleyways and leave them for dead. The kind of superheroes that see a guy trying to feed his family and they're like, you know what? What if I curb stomp the shit out of him? But why are street level superheroes important to comic books and just media as a whole? Some of the more notable street level superheroes are the heroes like Batman and Spider-Man. Two of the three biggest superheroes of all time are street level. Someone like Superman will be like, hey, hold it right there, Buster. And then they'll maybe tie a pole around a criminal and just leave him there for the cops. Not the street tier heroes. They're not as strong as him. So they'll probably, be a lot more forceful about it. And one of the more forceful street tier superheroes is, of course, Moon Knight. So if you know anything about Moon Knight, especially when it comes to his comic books, he's a lot more forceful when it comes to delivering justice. He's very violent and he's very dramatic. And when the Disney Plus show came out, people were really excited to see that kind of superhero in the Marvel Universe, because there was a lot of people complaining that the MCU was a little too kiddish, that they weren't as serious as they used to be. Captain America went from throwing a guy in a fucking plane engine and just incinerating him to I am Steve Rogers. So people were really excited to see a more darker tone in Marvel media. Kevin Feige himself would go on to say that it's like the most brutal MCU thing they've ever made. And it turned out to be a pretty big fucking lie. It was the same type of shit, except there was a little bit more blood in it. They tried to make us think that Moon Knight was going to be all street tier. He's going to be fucking up crime bosses or beating the shit out of purse snatchers. But what it turned out to be is a giant CGI kaiju fight that would come out of Toho. Now, when it came to the more average MCU kind of audience, the people that don't know anything about Moon Knight, they didn't seem to really care all that much. But when it came to people like this guy over here, it kind of fucking sucks. I want to see Moon Knight cut some fucking faces off and wear them. When somebody overhypes the fact that a project is going to be brutal, I'm expecting some fucking brutality. In an effort to make Moon Knight not like the other street tier heroes, they instead made him into another generic MCU hero. Now, what would Moon Knight have benefited from if it was more of a street tier story and we didn't have all this Egyptian god shit? Well, we could have gotten an actual climactic ending to Mark and his mom. So apparently there was a full-blown scene where Mark Spector was confronting his abusive mother, and they ended up cutting it out, which personally, if you ask me, that's a huge fucking miss. They really wanted to make Moon Knight fit well into like an Avengers roster and then proceed to never use him ever again. Is he gonna be in Avengers Doomsday? Nope. So what the fuck are they gonna use Moon Knight for? It feels like they just threw in another fucking MCU project just to throw one in. Moon Knight is one of the most interesting street level characters in comics, in my opinion. Okay? He's a guy who has crippling DID, mental disorders out the fucking ass. He does stuff that even the Punisher would be like, what the fuck is your problem, man? We could have gotten so much more character development, and then we just got CGI slop instead. I feel like we could have gotten way more story development, just closure for these characters. I feel it was kind of wasted. And this kind of connects to a big problem I have with a lot of high budget shows, is that when you have a ton of high budget shows, just CG and all these crazy high budget effects, they're going a lot more into like the range of like movies and not really sticking to like the characters and the longevity of actually having a TV show, which I feel like is lost in the last few years. My friend has recommended me the show Supernatural, and I kind of just pushed it off, right? And then one day, I was like, you know what? I got nothing to do right now. Sure, let's watch Supernatural. Just 20 plus episodes of just two brothers on the road killing monsters, okay? And there are times where the CGI, it fucking sucks, right? You know, it's TV, what can you do? But I would rather take mediocre to like trash CG but with great storytelling, seasons coming out every like other year or just every few months, rather than a TV show that takes like 5 fucking years to make, filled to the brim with CG, and the story doesn't even turn out to be that great. Another example that I bring up here is Percy Jackson. Right? I was so fucking excited for the Percy Jackson TV show. And while it is pretty good, it suffers heavily from the lack of episodes. We needed more episodes to adapt this grand scale book. And I feel like if they just stuck with like makeup or just like hiding monsters here and there, just not using them as much, it could have really benefited. We could have gotten a lot more episodes just fleshing out everything, and then all of a sudden, we gotta spend a bunch of CGI to have Percy getting carried by water. And now the fucking main guy who's playing Percy Jackson is like reaching the drinking age at this point. It's like, holy shit, man. You are not fucking 12 years old. The Stranger Things kids are paying mortgage on their fucking house. The average MCU show is like, what, 4 to 8 episodes? Just fucking makes me mad, dude. Like, we need more time with these characters, and I just feel like it's being wasted for visual effects. Okay, sorry, I really had to get that part off my chest. It was really long. It was kind of a 2-parter episode right there. But anyway, let's get back to, like, the actual topic of this video. The reason why I'm so passionate about this is because street level heroes makes us feel connected to them. When a gun gets pulled out on superheroes like Superman or Wonder Woman, you don't really feel the impact, right? You just know, oh, they just have they're just bulletproof, all right? It doesn't matter. Somebody pulls out knives, it's a piece of cake. It doesn't matter. But when you pull out a knife on characters like Spider-Man or Batman, you're not as sure, okay? Bullets can impact Spider-Man. Knives have for sure impacted Batman. So when a thug pulls that out of their pocket, you're just like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna be able to dodge it, or are they gonna get fucking stabbed? When there's a civilian in trouble and a character like Daredevil comes in, they have to be a lot more tactical, a lot more stealthy, and just way smarter than you could if you could just burst through the wall and just fight's over. Especially when it comes to characters like Daredevil, holy shit, he gets fucked up like almost every single big fight, and you love to see it. It's like every time Matt Murdock jumps through that window, he's standing on a rooftop. It could be his last night on Earth. Going back to Moon Knight for a second, the guy that directed Moon Knight says, it could have very much easily just been about another guy who beats up purse snatchers, but we really want to do something different, something that hasn't been done before. Basically, he just called street level superheroes just kind of redundant, so that's why he had to go all big budget and shit. But in an effort to make Moon Knight less street tier, you ended up just making him into another generic MCU hero. It's the same shit they ended up doing with fucking Shang-Chi. It could have just been a big climactic battle with his dad, martial arts, fucking 10 rings flying everywhere. But no, we just have to have him fight a dragon at the end, because it's just kung fu. I actually theorize that that's why they haven't used Shang-Chi or Moon Knight yet, is because they don't want to just do street level action sequences. They want to be different with it. They want to put them in the next big world-ending event. It ended up doing it with Thunderbolts, but I'll be honest, Thunderbolts actually handled it in a pretty good way. I'll be honest. But the thing is I don't think you should be hiding from street level heroes. Street level action sequences could be different. It's like how the character fights, how they react to certain things, what's their method of saving lives. It's not that street levels are redundant, it's just that directors, when it comes to making these kinds of stories, they just don't know how to be creative enough, I feel like. But luckily, we have seen a little bit of a return to form when it comes to these things. Thunderbolts being a huge example. 3 entire members of the Thunderbolts lineup are all super soldiers, and yet they fight so different and just so distinct compared to like some of the other members of the Thunderbolts. Even though they're all super soldiers, they still fight in certain ways, and they have certain methods to how to deal with criminals. Red Guardian is a fucking bulldozer. He likes to use his weight and his strength to his advantage, but at the same time, he's out of his prime. So how does an old man super soldier fight? Well, he likes to pick up objects and just use them as weapons, just toss shit around. Bucky, even though he's really strong as a super soldier, he likes to use weapons mainly. Guns, tasers, knives, anything he can carry on him, he likes to use that first. But when he does fight hand-to-hand combat, he likes to emphasize his metal arm more. Like, that's like another weapon he can utilize. US Agent, being a more darker version of Captain America, fights a lot like him, but at the same time, he's a lot more violent with his fighting style. A big example I can think of is the fight during Thunderbolts, where he pins a guy up with his shield against a truck and just slides him down. Now, this does go against my complaint earlier, right? Moon Knight had to have a big CGI climactic kaiju fight. Shang-Chi had to fight a fucking dragon. And in this one, it's Sentry. And even though it does adhere to my complaints from earlier, I think the way they handled that was way better. For some reason, people don't like the climactic ending to Thunderbolts. I actually think it's fucking genius, right? Sentry and Bob's like fight, it's not just laser eyes and just voiding people. They have like a fist fight and it's fucking amazing. And then they ended up defeating Void by just hugging Bob, right? Just comforting him. I think that's genius. Like, how else would a street level team fight somebody like Void? Like, Shang-Chi, he's like the best hand-to-hand combatant in Marvel, right? And yet at the same time, it's like he can't be just a street tier hand-to-hand combatant anymore because he has the 10 rings now. So it's like, well, shit, guess he's not street tier anymore. A big topic I've seen thrown around online is that whether or not the new DCU Batman should be more fantastical or should he be realistic. Now, even though a lot of Batman's more popular stories involve him being street tier, just being a detective and shit, I'm actually wanting him to be a little bit more fantastical. The reason being is because we already have the Matt Reeves Batman movies. Those movies are going to be grounded, and I feel like we could really use a more upbeat Batman versus Clayface kind of story. If anything, I feel like it should be both. Like one movie, it's Batman versus Mr. Freeze, and then the other one is Batman versus Two-Face, right? Where he has to adhere to Two-Face's humanity side, and just his darker side just takes over, you know? It's something that I really want to see, and I feel like we're not getting that with the more down-to-earth Batman films. The Christopher Nolan movies were like as realistic as you could get with Batman, and they ended up turning the League of Shadows into just ninjas with a guy who thinks he's immortal. I find that kind of boring. At the end of the day, it's all about stakes, you know? Worrying about these characters that we love. The efforts they're willing to put their bodies through just to save a human life and stop the villain of the story. It's just fucking amazing. Seeing them get just fucking slashed by knives, shot by a bullet, and yet they still just have the strength to just keep going no matter the odds because they have to achieve saving people. It's just like, it's so good, right? It's all about perseverance, right? And it makes us care a lot more about these people. That's why, you know, Kryptonite gets stabbed into Superman. That's why Green Lantern's weakness is piss fucking yellow. It weakens them and it brings them down just to our level just so we can worry about them. But with street levels, we're worrying about them jumping from building to building. What the fuck? What if Daredevil slips and breaks his fucking neck? It could happen. It could happen. That's what's so great about these. It could happen. It very well could happen. But yeah, that's all I wanted to get off my chest today. I don't know how to make an outro. Goodbye.